Welcome to Waka Wednesday on Heian Haven. I'm Dawn. This is our first Waka Wednesday together, so let's start with context. What's Waka? Waka translates to poetry in Japanese. Up through the early Heian period, Waka referred to any poetry composed in Japanese. It was an umbrella term. This had changed by mid-Heian because most of the various forms of poetry had fallen out of favor, and Waka became synonymous with the still popular tanka. Tanka are generally poems in a 5-7-5-7-7 arrangement. By comparison, haiku are 5-7-5. We will be discussing poems in translation, so the syllables will not always match up to the originals. Syllable isn't even the right term, but it's the closest thing in English. So, what is Waka Wednesday? Waka Wednesday is a companion video series to the Genji project. Every other week, on Wednesdays, I'll present my favorite poem, or waka, from the current research, reading the Genji Monogatari. After we discuss the chosen waka, I'll share a tanka I've written inspired by the selection. I'm also creating a database of poetic terms as we move through the novel. Our very first waka is pulled from the introduction of Genji. While the tale of Genji contains 795 poems, only one of the 5 translators includes any poetry in the introduction, Waley. Interestingly, these poems are not actually from the Genji Monogatari. Instead, they're from Murasaki Shikibu's diary. I have 2 translations of this to share, Waley and Bowring, transcribed in the description box below. Let's set the stage. It's early morning. Dew still clings to the grass. Murasaki Shikibu is sitting in her curtained-off room near the garden. Fujiwara no Michinaga, Empress Shoshi's father, picks a spray of flowers and hands it over the standing curtain to Murasaki. A poem is expected of her. Now, in Waley's version, Michinaga tells her to be quick about her poem or he'll lose his temper. Bowring, however, translates that as he presses her for a poem. She hasn't done her makeup yet and is feeling a bit disheveled and is therefore embarrassed. Appearances were everything. She moves out of sight to her writing desk and inkstone and writes, "Now I see the color of this maiden flower in bloom. I know how much the dew discriminates against me." Michinaga praises her for being quick and calls for a brush and writes, "It is not the dew that chooses where to fall. Does not the flower choose the color that it desires?" Waley translates the exchange this way, "If these beyond other flowers are fair, 'tis but because the dew hath picked them out, and by its power made them sweeter than the rest." With the response, "Dew favors not. It is the flower's thoughts that flush its cheeks and make it fairer than the rest." I read Murasaki's poem 2 ways. First, the dew makes the maiden flower, or omeneshi, more beautiful in contrast to her own disheveled appearance. Second, the flower, here representing Murasaki, is shown favor by being chosen by the dew, or Michinaga. With that in mind, Michinaga's response is that the dew did nothing to beautify the flower. It was already pretty, or my choosing you has to do with your talent. What do you think? And now for my attempt inspired by the selection. Gift from the garden, plucked without ceremony, presented with dew. Yellow flower of autumn, you have caught me unaware. What has inspired you this week? Share your poem in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Subscribe if you'd like to explore the Heian period of Japan with me through poetry.